Welcome to Satsang. Yes, Tosh.
Hello, Vishrant. Can you please talk about today's topic, how to deal with an unfair world?
Well, we're all brought up to have an understanding of right, wrong, good and bad, and we were probably all brought up to believe that things should be fair. But the truth is, there is nothing fair about anything. And if we look towards nature, which is always a good clue as to what's real and what's not real, we find there's no fairness in nature. The big animals eat the small animals, the old animals and the sick animals. There's nothing fair about it. It's what is. But we're brought up to believe there should be a thing called fairness. And because we're brought up that way, we tend to turn ourselves into victims of just about everything when it doesn't go our way because we don't think it's fair. And we end up with a heap of injustice wounding. And it's not required. All we've got to do is see the point. Life isn't fair. That is the reality. When we tell our children fairy tales that involve fairness, we're actually setting them up for a pretty big fall when they get older, because they're going to come into a world that doesn't operate out of fairness. They go to kindergarten, they go to school, they meet bullies. It's not fair, but it is what is. In acceptance of life as it is, we don't wound ourselves. But as long as we are believing in injustices, believing in fairness, the chances are that we are going to wound ourselves. We're going to contract, we're going to resist, we're going to suffer. Life is the way it is. It's up to you to see it that way. It is unfortunate that we've all been programmed to believe in fairness, but there's just no such thing. It's a myth, and it's not in nature anywhere. It's mind-made. So if you don't want to be wounded, if you don't want to have injustice wounding, get it out of your head that life should be fair. Stop turning yourself into a victim of things when they don't go your way, when someone seems to be unreasonable or whatever. It is simply the way it is. And then you can be free of the suffering that is caused by this misunderstanding or this belief in fairness. It is a misunderstanding because really when we look at fairness, the world is not fair. Yet in holding the belief that it is or should be, we're being delusional because we're out of touch with the reality of the world we live in. What a wonderful thing it is to not be a victim of life. But that's up to you, because you're the one who's going to volunteer to be a victim, or you're going to be the one who just sees life as it is. It's what is. Up to you. Are there any questions, statements, or challenges to this teaching?
The first question is as follows. Why do people put such an important emphasis on fairness?
Oh, we're all programmed to. It's simple. Everyone runs true to their programming, to their patterning. You are programmed to believe in fairness. You are programmed to believe that in injustices. You are programmed to be a victim of life. You are programmed that way. So, of course, you're going to run that way. And if you meet someone who is not a victim of life, you've met someone who's done a lot of work on themselves. And you've also met someone who doesn't suffer much because they're not resisting life. You've met someone who has higher consciousness.
Even though you have a firm understanding that the world isn't fair, Do you try to live in a way that is fair?
Heck yeah. I try to take care of everybody I meet. But we're going back a long time now, way before awakening, because that's what it meant to be a man to me, to take care of everybody and everything. That's manly. To not take care, to not be a caretaker here, in a lot of ways, is childish.
What would life be like if I didn't believe things should be fair?
Well, for you, you wouldn't be suffering anywhere near as much as you probably do if you believe in fairness. Because always things are going to go wrong. Always, sooner or later, someone's going to betray you and lie to you or do something to you. Always someone's going to be unreasonable. That's the world we live in. And if you see it just as it is, rather than turn yourself into a victim of it because you think it should be fair, well, you have a much nicer life, don't you? And your suffering, when you do turn yourself into a victim, changes nothing. It's pointless. When something happens that touches you, you are responsible for your reaction, 100%. If you turn yourself into a victim and go into blame, well, you're hurting you, not what's happened. You're hurting yourself. This is a form of maturity that is pretty high. You take responsibility that you make yourself feel, that the world is not making you feel, but you do it to yourself. And if you truly examine your mind, you'll see that's exactly what's happening. You are 100% responsible for your reaction. If you turn yourself into a victim and suffer, you are creating that for you.
What you've said sounds very true to me. How do I turn it into a lived reality rather than just an intellectual agreement?
Don't, and see where it gets you. Don't pay attention. Don't change anything. Continue to suffer. It's your prerogative. When I first heard this story about victim-orientated thinking and about fairness, I was about 19. And when I heard it, it was gold. I could see clearly that I created my own reality by the way I thought, and that if I turned myself into a victim of anything, it was a voluntary act on my part, no matter what had happened. And I was responsible for my reactions. And so I went about changing my life from not supporting victim-orientated thinking at all, because I just didn't want to create suffering for myself. It seems stupid.
If you're content with everything and you don't have that belief that the world should be fair, where do you find the motivation to act in the world?
Very, very simple. Love. If it wasn't for love, I wouldn't be holding this seminar. If it wasn't for love, I wouldn't hold satsang. If it wasn't for love, I probably wouldn't come out of my room, because I'm blissed out to the max most of the time, just sitting there. Love is the motivator that brings me out here. Nothing else, really.
The following question has been submitted by a viewer. How can I overcome, or the first part of the question, how can I overcome anxiety problems?
You know, I worked as a psychotherapist for nearly 10 years before starting to hold Satsang, and anxiety is a major plague in our society. A lot of people suffer it. A lot of people suffer the consequences of fear. And if I was seeing someone to help them with their anxiety, I'd probably see them for quite a few sessions because it's a complex issue. They've developed a pattern of anxiety. It's a default pattern. And to change a default pattern takes quite a lot of work on the part of the person who has the default pattern. So to give you a simple answer as to how to get rid of anxiety, that would be silly, because it takes a lot of work over a long time, and you probably need to get professional advice. For me, it was really, really simple, but it was very, very complex at the same time, in that I recognized that fear was the main survival mechanism for the body and mind. And what I was actually frightened of, ultimately, was the loss of control. Death, loss of control. Insanity, loss of control. If we look at fear, it's all about losing control. And so for me, I started letting go of control. I allowed myself to die to the future. And I kept practicing that until I got very good at it, because that's how it is for us human beings. Whatever we practice, we get good at. And so after a while, a lot of the fears that I had just didn't exist anymore. They didn't have credence anymore. But if you ultimately want to get rid of fear, wake up to your true nature, fear disappears completely. The word for this in Sanskrit is abhaya, fearless. Not because you're courageous, but because there's no fear anymore, because a survival mechanism that uses fear to survive has died. It has surrendered unconditionally. Then there's no anxiety about anything. There's no fear about anything. You are free. Enlightenment is freedom from the mind, freedom from the survival mechanism that thinks it's you.
The next question has been written by Gidrius. I'd like to know how to deal with and understand obsessions or compulsions. They often take over. How to take the power from them?
Well, when you say they take over, I'm not sure what you mean. Isn't that you just putting on a different role? And who's responsible for the roles? See, it's almost like you've separated these compulsions from yourself. You're the one having the compulsions. It's you. You're in control. Nobody else can control it. Nobody else can do anything about it. Only you can. You can either serve the compulsion or you can deny the compulsion. Up to you. You're in charge. To separate yourself from the compulsion is crazy, because it is you. It's the same mind. It's not a different mind. It's not like you've got someone else inside of you. It's you. It's up to you. You're responsible. You either support the compulsion or you don't support the compulsion, but you're the one who supplies the support.
The next question has been submitted by a viewer. I have a difficult relationship with my mother, and that leads me to chronic depressive disorders. How can I improve this toxic relationship with someone who is so conservative?
Accept your mother as she is instead of expecting her to be different than how she is. Your expectation that your mother should be different than how she is is what's driving you into depressive states. Your mother is the way she is. The likelihood she's going to change is probably very limited, if any at all. What can change is your acceptance. Are you in full acceptance of how she is, or are you in resistance to it? Because you're the one that supplies the acceptance or the resistance. It's up to you. The world isn't going to change. You either accept it or you fight it. If you fight it, you're going to suffer. If you accept it, you will find peace.
Next, we have a question from Neil.
Hi, Neil.
Hello, Vishrant. So my question is karma like a justice system? The people who do selfish things, will they get the consequence of their actions? So in that way, will the fairness in this world be balanced through karma?
Okay, so karma to me is real, but for a lot of people, they have to take it on as a belief system because they don't see the energy flow. For me, it's real. I can see the energy flow. Whatever we put into life, we get back. Whatever you've done is going to come back to you. And I know that for a fact, but I don't want you to believe me. I want you to check it out for yourself. It's up to you. You create your reality. And if you're putting in negative things, usually through selfishness, well, it's going to come back to you. There's a lot of beauty in the world when you become a giver, when you start taking care of others, when you become generous, when you become kind. There's a lot more beauty there. And that's the karma coming back to you. But it's up to you. I never believed in karma before I started to see the energy field of it. What we put in, we get back. But I do now. Whatever you've put into life is going to come back. And the beauty of that understanding, if you really are a responsible person, when negative things happen to you, you just see it as you're paying back karma, not as, oh, that's wrong. No, you're just paying back karma. And when good things happen to you, the same. It's just karma, good karma coming your way. And this is another way to avoid being a victim in life. It's all just karma. Whatever's happening, it's payback time.
But sometimes even newborn babies suffer. So is it their karma?
Heck yeah. Then we move into another thing that people may have to use belief systems because it's not their experience. I remember hundreds of past lives. Whatever we've done in a previous life, whatever karma we haven't paid back, good or bad, we pay back in this life. And so everybody is always continuously receiving the karma that they have supplied, what they've put in. I do not see victims. I see karma at play.
Right. And I've got one more question. In order to be a seeker, is it necessary that the fundamental needs of a person has to be met first, like food, water, shelter, intimacy? Because I've also heard Osho say that he is the rich man's guru. So is it necessary?
Yeah. I was there when he said that, and I don't buy it because I decided to give up my companies and I decided to take my shoes off, give all my money away and walk around Australia as a bum, barefoot for 4 years so I could get back to being real because I was such a false ego. And I was hungry sometimes and I was cold sometimes because I didn't have shelter, I didn't have food, but I was surrendering to what is. I was practicing acceptance of what is. And in the practice of acceptance of what is, you open up really wide and you start experiencing your heart. So I don't think we have to be comfortable at all. I think the discomforts in life give us opportunity to surrender.
Mm-hmm. And when you got awareness that you're not the body and you're not the mind, did you stop taking care of your body because you're not the body anymore?
No, it's a spacesuit. If you don't take, it's like your car. If you don't take care of it, you don't service it, it's going to break down. If you want to keep using it, you've got to take care of it. The body and the mind are a spacesuit, and if they're not taken care of, they will break down. If you're okay with that, fair enough. It's like having a car. If you're okay with not having a car because it breaks down because you don't serve it, fair enough. It's up to you. You must service vehicles, and you must service the body and the mind for it to continue to run properly.
Right. That's it. Thank you, Vishrant.
Thank you.
The next question has been written by Sarah. Shaina. Hi Vish. To be in the world, but not of the world, do I need to be in a state of non-reaction?
To be in the world and not of the world, Shaina, you need to be awake. That means awareness has to be aware of itself continuously. And then you are in the world because you're here, but you're not of the world because you are everything. That's the only way to be in the world and not of the world. There is no other way. You might like to imagine that you're in the world and not of the world, but that's just you having a dream. Someone who's in the world but not of the world is already enlightened.
The next question is from Puneet.
Hi, Vishrant.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, just wanted to say hi and silly question. You say your name is Prem Vishrant. So just wondering why don't you go by Prem and by Vishrant?
Prem means love, and Vishrant means relax or restful. And I was given this name by Osho Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh because I was not restful. It was a sadhana, it was a teaching. First of all, I didn't know much about love, and secondly, I didn't know much about being restful. And so the sadhana was there, so I would learn love and I would learn restfulness. I have learnt love. The absence of the I allows the perception of love continuously. Vishrant simply means a relaxed mind or relax. My mind is flatlined. It is so relaxed it's dead. And so I used the name that was given to me by Bhagwan as a sadhana to go towards freedom. My friends call me Vish. They don't call me Prem. Most don't call me Vishrant either. They call me Vish.
Thanks. Good to know.
Thank you.
The next question has been written by Gurleen. Hello Vishrant. Can you speak about Dharma?
Well, to me, Dharma simply really means teaching. It's like an understanding of the teachings and the teaching itself. My understanding of karma is if you really want good karma, you teach people how to be free. You teach the Dharma. Because there's nothing greater that you can do for someone else than to help them get free. Everybody is imprisoned here. They're imprisoned in their minds, thinking there is somebody when they are not. The bars of this prison are made of fear. And most people don't even know they're imprisoned. They do not know that there's something that they are that is way bigger than the mind. Those who teach the Dharma are trying to help people get free, trying to help people become enlightened. I don't think there's any greater karma can be achieved other than teaching the Dharma. And so whatever you know to help others get free, let them know.
Vishrant, I have a follow-up question to that. A lot of people think they're teaching the Dharma, but they teach the wrong thing. What do you have to say about teachers who do this?
Look, we live in a world where most religions are based on belief systems. And from my perspective, those belief systems don't really help people's consciousness raise. They keep people in a certain level of ignorance. And if you're going to get free, you have to raise your consciousness levels. As far as people teaching the wrong thing or leading people astray or keeping them in the dark, that's what's meant to be, otherwise it wouldn't be so. If you have the karma to listen to a Buddha, to be in the presence of a Buddha, to be able to hear a Buddha, your karma is pretty good. It's up to you though. You create your karma. The people who are being led astray are meant to be led astray. That's their karma. The people who are being kept in the dark are meant to be kept in the dark. That's their karma. It's all karma.
The next question is from Susha.
Hi, Sush. Hello.
Hi, Vishrant.
Hello.
Hello. You said that it's in discomfort that we surrender to discomfort. So, as a seeker, one should look for discomfort.
No, fortunately, life will supply it. You don't have to look for it. To have a human body, you're going to face so many discomforts. You're going to face the discomfort of cold, of hot, the discomfort of illness, sickness, injury. You're going to suffer the discomfort of being insulted, lied to, cheated on. We are so fortunate in that existence gives us so many opportunities to practice surrender. And it's up to you. You can constantly try to find comfort, or you can learn to surrender to what is. In learning to surrender to what is, you can get free. In constantly seeking comfort, you're a bit like the worm on a hot tin roof, flipping from side to side. You never really find it. Not really. To be human is uncomfortable in a lot of ways. We try to make ourselves as comfortable as possible so we can snooze our way through life until we die. But really, all the discomforts that existence offers us gives us an opportunity to learn acceptance and unconditional surrender if we want to use it that way.
Yeah. The tendency is to go look for comfort as soon as even small amounts of discomfort shows up.
Yeah.
So when you say surrender to it, can you tell what does that look like?
Well, when I was walking around Australia, I was talking about that earlier, barefoot. I also only wore a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. So in the winter, it was very cold, but I surrendered to the cold. In the summer, it was very hot. I surrendered to the hot. I used everything that I came across to learn more and more about acceptance remove more and more obstacles inside of myself that are in the way. So I used physical discomfort to learn surrender.
Okay. You're not saying that somebody is sick does not find cure or does not find treatment.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that we can use the discomforts in life to learn acceptance and surrender. If I've got a headache, which I don't have, and I don't usually get, but okay, here's a better way. If I've got a backache, now I do get them, I might have a paracetamol or salicylic acid, aspirin. I might. Why not? But I've got to tell you, I've already learned unconditional surrender. But when I was learning it, before I mastered it, I practiced acceptance to everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, darling.
The next question has been written by a viewer. Vishrant, in the context of someone that is endeavoring to find truth, what are the characteristics of a valuable occupation?
The best occupations are the occupation of service, where you're helping others in some way, because they create wonderful karma and they make you feel happy. After my spiritual master Osho died in 1990, I felt that the chances of enlightenment were over for me in this lifetime. And so I chose to serve heart. And in serving heart, I found what I called manageable happiness, because it made me happy to help other people. It made me happy to serve other people. And this is just a beautiful way to live, in service. Self-service is the fast way to hell. Selfishness, self-obsession, fast way to hell. If we really want to be happy, how about helping other people? How about helping animals? How about helping plants? How about being in service? Check it out and see for yourself. It's lovely.
The next question has been written by a viewer. Hi Vishrant, thanks for your love, but to achieve not being a victim, is that a gradual change? What are your methods that help you get better?
Yeah, it took me a while. I learned about victim-orientated thinking and how it was detrimental and how it was a choice when I was 19. It actually took me years to stop it because I'd been programmed to be a victim, like everyone else I knew, like everyone in my family. I'd been programmed to be a victim, to blame the world, to blame people, to blame myself for this, that, and the other. It was a revolution for me, a revelation for me to discover that that was a choice. But after I found out it was a choice, I catch myself being a victim and I just stop it. And I kept doing that over and over again until it stopped, until my default patterns changed, until I developed default patterns of not being a victim rather than being a victim. It took practice. Like everything else we want to change about our mind, it takes practice. It doesn't change because we have an insight. Insights are just invitations to do the work.
Next, we have a question from Abay.
Hello, Abay.
Hi, Vishrant. Vishrant, you said that if we have good karma, then we get to be with an awakened master.
Yeah.
Can you please tell me, like, what kind of karma is that which can do that? Give us that opportunity.
The type of karma where you put yourself aside for the benefit of others. The type of karma that you receive because instead of being selfish, you become selfless. You become a giver instead of a taker. That's the kind of karma. And if not in this life, in previous lives, because we carry it forward. Some people don't know why they have such good fortune in this life. Well, that will be something to do with previous lives. There's no such thing as luck. It's all karma.
Okay. So if we have received something from our past life, then to continue it, I should be again involved in something like service to others, serve others.
Well, karma runs out.
And
Karma runs out. It's just, look, there's this way of living in the world, which is the way of the heart, which is so, so beautiful, but it's not what a lot of us were programmed to do. A lot of us went to school and we were programmed to become winners, usually at the cost of others. We didn't go to school and learn how to be, givers, caretakers. But when we become a caretaker of the planet, of the people, of the animals, of the plants, it changes our karma. Service is a form of giving, and giving brings good karma. And it's up to you. You're going to create the karma in your life with your actions and your words. That's how it is for every human being. And so I never see people as victims. I just see karma playing out. I never see people who are happy as lucky. I just see it as karma playing out. Ultimately, and this one knocks a few people around, I think enlightenment is karmic also. To actually become awake, you have to have pretty good karma.
okay.
So whatever you put into life, you're going to get back. That's how it works.
And when you say it's up to you, it gives a very good, of course, it is a responsibility on me itself, but at the same time, I have a choice. I can do it. That feeling comes in. And thank you for that. Every time you say it's up to you, it's a choice, and it gives me very good confidence. Thank you.
Yeah, best choose the way of life, which is love, the way of the heart. That's best. Because when you love people, you take care of them, and love affects the mind in such a way that you just want to take care of them.
Yes. Thank you very much, Vishrant. You're so encouraging, always encouraging. Thank you very much.
The following question has been written by Brian. I have a hard time thinking of questions because I feel like all questions are ego-based questions. I prefer to be still, watchful and aware instead of entertaining my ego. Any comments on this?
Yeah, it's true. All questions are silly. It is the silence and the stillness that you have to find if you want to be free. But in asking the questions, obstacles that are in the way of that can be removed. If not for you, for others. And so in being the questioner, you are not only in service to others by asking those questions, you're also in service to yourself because you are giving. A lot of people need words. They're not ready for silence and stillness. That is the highest teaching. And so in asking the questions, you help people prepare for higher consciousness, where silence and stillness is always the answer.
The following question is from a viewer on YouTube. Vishrant, karma seems to indicate personal free will. Is this true that we are autonomous individuals?
No. Everything is just a play of energy. The whole thing is one great big play. And I have no free will. I am running true to whatever patterns are here. You are listening to default patterns that have been programmed or deprogrammed into this vehicle. I live as beingness. The idea of free will is so silly because we are one. Everything is us. There is no personal. This is a dream. So is free will.
The next question has been written by Gerline. What was it like for you, Vishrant, when you realized you were living in a dream state? I've been having these realizations of how asleep I am. It's a little scary to realize. Some days I feel more aware, and other days I can sense the dense sleep I'm in. This journey as a seeker seems to be a wave of up and down. Did you experience this up and down as well?
Yes. Once I realized that there was no purpose and no meaning to life, it was devastating. Because as an ego, I needed purpose and meaning. Yet in looking for it, I couldn't discover it anywhere. There is just life. That's what there is. It kind of disheartened me because I had been led to believe that being successful in the material world was the purpose, was the meaning. And once I became successful in the material world and realized that that doesn't bring you happiness either, I felt ripped off. Upon having Satori's, as a result of being with Osho, I discovered that there was something else. And that broke my heart as well, because I kept coming back to ego-based reality, which is a form of suffering compared to living as beingness. And so the ups and downs were pretty strong for quite a while. It wasn't until I learnt that serving heart was a way to live that was beautiful that things started to change. Because it was devastating to just live as an ego without heart, knowing that there was no purpose, no meaning, that everything was a sham. Making money for sake of money was just a sham. The world became very hollow for me. It wasn't until I found love through openness and moved into service that life became beautiful.
The next question is from Satya.
Hello, Vishrant.
Hi, Satya.
Vishrant, to become a witness of everything, is it the way to live in this fair and unfair world?
Yes, it is. But you witness your own mind mostly. Most people witness the world one way or another, even if they're commenting on it, they're still witnessing it. What's of tremendous value is to witness your own mind without judgment, just to watch it like you'd be watching an animal somewhere. Just watch it and see what it does. In seeing what it does, you become more conscious.
Thank you, Vishrant.
Thank you, Satya. Are you in India?
Yes, I am in India.
Well, it'll be a while before you can come back to Australia, I imagine, with the COVID things. But I look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, I'm coming back in could be next month or January.
Great.
Thank you, Vishrant.
Thank you, Satya.
The next question is from a viewer on YouTube. What to do when your partner keeps cheating and you keep forgiving them, but they are not changing?
What to do when you keep banging your head against the wall and you won't stop? I mean, look, either you accept the cheating or you get out of the relationship. You either accept the cheating or you get out of the relationship. What do you think? What do you think you're going to do? You can't change your partner. Your partner's going to do what they want to do. All you can change is yourself. You can accept what's going on, or you can get out of the relationship if you don't want to. It's up to you. Acceptance is pretty cool. You could try that. It will destroy you. Acceptance is the antidote to the I. It's brilliant. Expecting your partner not to cheat on you if that's their pattern, well, you're out of touch with reality because that's what they're going to do. That's like banging your head against the wall and not stopping banging your head against the wall. It's crazy. Accept her or him or whatever it is and get out. There's your choice. For me, I just love people. I accept people however they are because they're all me. She is you. Haven't you found the betrayer in you yet? Haven't you had a look? It'll be there. It's in everyone. Acceptance will set you free. Fighting, arguing, debating, that won't set you free. That'll just take you to hell. Try acceptance.
The following question has been written by Gurleen. What happens to enlightened people when they die? Can we connect with you when you're no longer in the body? And can we connect with you right now energetically by calling upon you?
Okay, so my master Osho Rajneesh's body died in 1990, but he is still here because what is here is him. See, people think that he was the body and he was the mind and he was his elegant way of talking. No, he was pure beingness, the same as you are. And in him, pure beingness was aware of itself, same as here, same, no difference. Different outfit, that's all. Different costume, that's all. No other difference, none. We are one.
The next question has been written by Brian. Is being with an enlightened person such as yourself the best way to move into higher consciousness?
Depends on whether you surrender or not, because if you don't surrender, it'll be the best way to move into lower consciousness. If you turn yourself into a victim of what's happening around someone who's awake, and the likelihood of that occurring is there because all your stuff's going to come up, or you just take yourself to lower consciousness. When you're around someone who's awake, you have to find a yes. Because when you find a no, you go to hell. Freedom is in the yes, not in the no. Oh, and yes, it is the fastest way. There is nothing faster as far as raising consciousness levels than being around someone who's awake. It's like stepping into the fire. Everything that's false will get burnt.
The next question is from Praneet.
Hi, Vishrant. So just a follow-up question on what you just said about the beingness being one. So when one realizes this beingness being one, is that something that is understood, or is that like your perceptive change kind of experience, like how people define like on LSD or whatnot, the world looks different? Is is that what it is, or it is just that your understanding changes? Like I read like a Zen koan story recently where a master asked the disciple, when the wind hits the wind chime, what makes the sound? Is it the wind chime that makes the sound, or is the wind that makes the sound? And the student says, no, it's my mind that makes the sound because of the vibration going through my ear and the sound being in my head.
There is no wind chime and there is no wind. It's all in your head. You can't understand enlightenment. You can't understand someone who is enlightened. It is not possible. Someone who's enlightened can't tell you what they know, can't tell you what they see, can't tell you what they experience, because the truth cannot be said. Only guidelines, only possible sentences that can be said may lead you. No understanding will help. Only the direct knowing that occurs when awareness becomes aware of itself and stays aware of itself will help. And even then, you still will not know what's happened because our minds are not capable of it. They are too limited. You may know yourself as the universe, but how do you ever describe that to anyone? Nobody has the reference points, including you, to talk about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next question has been written by Galen. Vishrant, it seems that the path of the heart was the only choice for you once you realized that there is no meaning in life. To me, it seems that the path of the heart is the only path. Is this true, or are there other paths too?
For me, the path of the heart was the only choice that I was prepared to go down. After Satori's and after realizing the futility of life as an ego, and the fact that egos just suffer until they die because of their constant desiring and their fear of losing whatever they're attached to, it's like a part of me didn't want to live anymore as an ego. I had had enough. And it was only in finding the way of the heart that life became bearable again. Because there's so much beauty in serving love. There is so much beauty in putting yourself aside and serving others. So I don't see another path. Some people say there's the bhakti and the jnani path, but the jnani path, which is the path of discipline, will only take you so far. Unless the mind has a love affair with truth, it will not die for truth. It is in the love affair, which is the bhakti path, the path of devotion, that enlightenment occurs. When the mind in love with beingness surrenders itself to beingness unconditionally. Gives itself to God unconditionally because the mind loves God.
Next, we have a question from Neil.
Hello, Vishrant. So I just wanted to share that I started practicing openness a little bit, and there's a part of me that is telling me that it's not even the real me. I'm in a way I'm fighting against my own nature. So is this kind of a conflict normal?
Yeah, because you're running against default patterns that you've had for a long time. So of course it's going to feel odd. Basically, if you sit with the default patterns that have always been there, well, nothing will change, and that will feel normal for you. As soon as you start doing something different, it's going to feel abnormal. But you're not the ego anyway. You're not the patterns anyway. You're beingness. You never were the patterns, no matter what the patterns are made of. You are pure beingness. You're that's aware of the patterns.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Tasha, I think it's time.
Yes.
Thank you for Satsang. Good to see you brave hearts here today.